If you want to learn to fly like this and be a hero, then stay tuned for Dropship Pilot Lesson 4. In this video, I'm going to teach you the fastest way to land by pointing the bottom of your ship towards the landing zone. This is a challenging maneuver, but I'm going to walk you through it step by step. The numbers I give you are a baseline, and you can adjust them based on how much risk you want to take and how familiar you are with the landing zone. I've yet to name this maneuver, so put your ideas in the comments below. Here we are once again at the Shubin mining facility. Since we don't have waypoints, we are using the quantum beacon as a distance reference to begin slowing down for the landing pad we're practicing on. The distance from the beginning of the pad to the quantum beacon is approximately 200 meters. I will reference the actual distance from the quantum beacon in this video, but for player pips and future waypoints, you will want to subtract 200 meters. The below linked document lists some of the ship speeds and distances for reference, and your contribution to add more ships and locations is appreciated. Today's goal is to land with our ship near the beginning of the landing pad with the rear door open and still on the pad. As we fly in, let's review the precision landing numbers for the Valkyrie at the Shubin mining facility on Daymar. We want to be at a speed of 60 meters per second and at an altitude of 330 meters when the top of the dash lines up with the beginning of the landing pad, or any object we want to land beyond, and keep our rear door useful for fast combat loading and unloading. Our braking distance, where we set the throttles to 0 and engage the speed brake, is 1,450 meters from the quantum beacon, which is 1,250 meters from the beginning of the landing pad. While we are flying to the braking distance, we must find a clear path to the landing zone. Once we initiate this maneuver, we will not be able to see the landing zone for a brief period, and we will not be able to easily adjust our vector or altitude. We will mostly be able to control our orientation and speed. At the braking distance, we are at a speed of 321 meters per second and an altitude of 331 meters. In addition to setting our throttle to 0 and engaging the speed brake, we will need to use maximum yaw and roll to the left to initiate this maneuver. Once we initiate the maneuver, we will quickly need to add maximum pitch back. This will initiate pointing the bottom of the ship to the landing zone. You need to fight to get the bottom of your ship facing the landing zone without going over 90 degrees. The more the bottom of your ship is pointed at the landing zone, the faster it will decelerate. The rollout speed is the speed at which you yaw right and at the same time pitch forward and roll right to face the landing zone. The baseline rollout speed for the Valkyrie on Daymar is 150 meters per second. Once you reach the rollout speed, it also helps to reduce your speed limiter to the precision landing speed. However, using strafe reduces your speed below what it's set to, but it is sometimes necessary to use yaw, pitch, and strafe in combination to adjust to the landing zone. The higher your rollout speed, the less decision reaction time you have to orient the ship to the landing zone, and the less time you have to achieve the precision landing speed and altitude. In this case, I'm at the precision landing speed of 60 meters per second, but my altitude is 21 meters high at 351 meters. I decide to release the speed brake and to enable pitch and strafe so I can descend to 330 meters. I focus on the descent, but notice how I lose speed. When the top of the dash lines up with the beginning of the landing pad, we are traveling at 52 meters per second, 8 meters per second slow, but we were at the perfect altitude of 330 meters. I decided to set the throttles to 0 and engage the speed brake. As you can see, I ended up a little short of my goal. I should have delayed a half second before setting the throttle to 0 and engaging the speed brake. Let's watch this again without pausing. This time, imagine using the inputs you fly with for a mental reference. Though I have broken this down into individual steps, this should be one fluid maneuver. Remember, In combat, your ability to put the ship where it is needed has a real impact on the fight. I suggest practicing with one ship until you have mastered it, so you can quickly apply it to any ship. You may have noticed that we increased in altitude about 15 meters from the point we initiated the maneuver to the point we are facing the landing zone and working to get to the precision landing speed and altitude. You will see that this also happens in the next examples. I believe this is a byproduct of the speed brake disabling the ability to change altitude with pitch and strafe, combined with the possibility my vector is consistently rising in altitude at the time I initiate this maneuver. Let me know in the comments below if you have this result or something different. Combat happens day and night. The instrument flying by the numbers is the same, but it feels different. Nighttime also decreases visibility to choose a clear path to the landing zone and to orient to it once you arrive. In this case, I use the same rollout speed of 150 meters per second because I'm familiar with the landing zone. Even so, notice that I end up offset right from the landing pad. I would recommend using a slower rollout speed for unfamiliar landing zones. This will give you more time to find a landing zone and to adjust your ship's speed and altitude to the precision landing numbers. In this case, not only am I offset right of the landing pad, but I'm a little fast at 65 meters per second and I am high at 356 meters in altitude. I release speed brake to enable pitch and strafe to adjust my altitude and line up to the landing pad. When the top of my dash lines up with the beginning of the landing pad, my speed is slow at 47 meters per second and my altitude is on the numbers at 330 meters. I decide to delay setting the throttle to 0 and engaging the speed brake by 1 second. This small adjustment was necessary to land where I intended. Landing pads are great for learning this technique and to measure your skill as a dropship pilot to use speed and precision to get where you're needed quickly. However, if you're unfamiliar with a landing zone, you may need to increase your brake distance or decrease your rollout speed to give yourself more time. Flying Marines is a big responsibility that comes with a big reward, so make sure your pilot skills are up to the challenge. In this example, we do not have any distance markers, so we will need to visually estimate the brake distance. For visual reference, here is the brake distance we used in a previous example. As I fly in, I'm placing my TVI on the anticipated landing zone. I am also visually estimating my brake distance. When I set my throttles to 0 and engage the speed brake, you can see that it appears I'm a little longer than my previous example. I used the rollout speed of 150 meters per second and I reduced my speed limiter as I roll out. Compared to the previous example, when I roll out, I'm a little longer, a little faster at 76 meters per second, and I do not have a predetermined landing spot. This means I will need more time to familiarize myself with the landing zone, pick a landing spot, and line up my ship for landing. To give myself more time, I decide to slow my ship down below the precision landing speed. As you can see, my adjustments allowed me to pick a spot for landing and be effective for combat. These skills take time to master and to maintain, but I hope you enjoy the challenge. Stay tuned to this channel for more Star Citizen tips and tricks.